Welcome everybody to the top producer interview class with the Mortgage Mastermind group. I am Paul Baxter, and first and foremost, I am here to help you grow. Thanks for joining us today, guys. Again, I'm Paul Baxter with Mortgage Mastermind Group, and I'm here with the founder of the Mortgage Mastermind Group, Mr. Chad Bates. And what we're going to be doing today is talking about how to get those partners to commit by fully engaging your partners. And so what happened is in a previous top producer session, Chad went over what he calls the realtor needs assessment. And Chad, just give us a little brief synopsis of what that realtor needs assessment is, just to catch up some of the people on what we've covered.
Well, I think, Paul, the thing that I found when I look at sales in any industry, but particularly in the mortgage business, is there's too many people that go out there and try to start selling somebody on something, whether it's a loan program or rates or whatever it is, and they candidly show up and maybe to pass out donuts or whatever their strategy is. That's not a strategy. So the realtor needs assessment reverses that and goes about finding out what somebody's needs are, and by doing that we differentiate ourselves from our competition, by the way. And then this is kind of the next step in the process. I'm interviewing those people in needs assessment to determine, is this somebody I want a partnership with? Is this somebody I want to do business with on a long-term basis? And if that is the case, after I've gone through a 15 to 30-minute realtor needs assessment, which is structured, I've given you all of the questions to ask and what have you, then I ask for a next appointment. I tell them, there's a script that we've given our members, basically, along the lines of, I'd like to think about what we've talked about today, and I'd like to come back with a specific written plan on how we might be able to help you build your business. And that's a summarized version, of course. But this is the next step. So now we've had a needs assessment. We found out what their needs are. Now we're going to go back and begin to engage the relationship in a professional manner in the form of a commitment letter. And let me give you a little bit of the background here, Paul. You and I have talked about this, but for our members and for our guests, this genesis of this system goes back to when I was in charge of a commercial lending portfolio earlier in my career, and I took a $500 million portfolio up to about $2 billion in 3 or 4 years with the sales force of 4 or 5 loan officers. And the way that we did that was we went out actively calling on local businesses, doing a needs assessment, finding out what their needs were, and then going back to them with a commitment letter. So this is applied from earlier in my career and applied to the mortgage industry specifically for realtor partners.
What I love best about it is, you kind of glossed over it so quickly. To me, the big deal about that realtor needs assessment is that it builds into the entire process of it. It first of all gives you exactly what to talk about, to dive deep and to know what the realtor's needs are. But the other thing it does is it gives you that second face-to-face opportunity built right into it. And that's what I think it's so important. I can't tell you how many people I talk to on a daily basis. Oh, well, I can get those face-to-face. Yeah, I got no problem making the calls. I can get the realtor to meet with me. But then what? They meet with me one time and then I never hear from them again. This gives you that built-in reason and that built-in opportunity for a second face-to-face, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is what do you do during that second face-to-face, and we call it engaging your partners, because you've already branded yourself as somebody a little bit different by doing the realtor needs assessment, as opposed to just kind of what you were getting ready to say, show up and throw up and start selling them at that first opportunity. You're now asking them what's important to them, and you've got that information, and now you're coming back to the information with all the ammunition that you could ever need. And the way that you do it is in the form of a letter. And kind of break down for us what your process is. You kind of go back and you go through the notes that you've taken, and what do you do from there?
Well, we want to find out what really is important to them, not only in their business but personally. And so we're going to find out a little bit through our interview process, the step-by-step questions that I've already provided to our members, and make sure you go through those in order again. I want to reiterate that because there's a method to why they're structured the way they are, and this is after a lot of trial and error on my part. So, you don't need to make the mistakes that I made. I've already made all the mistakes there are, and you get the finished product. So But you're going to look basically at the last four things on this slide: family information, what their goals are, production, who they admire, what the current lender does or doesn't do. All of those are questions that we get answers to in the needs assessment.
Okay, and that's that's as you start breaking it down. The very first thing that you do, and I noticed this right off the bat when I first read the commitment letter that you've come up with, is the first thing you do is you start with flattery, and I believe wholeheartedly that flattery will get you everywhere. You want to, what you're doing here is you're playing on their ego a little bit to help them understand that you've recognized their best qualities.
Well, and I think that the key is we make this all about them, both in the questions with the realtor needs assessment and when we give the commitment letter. It's all about them. So, and Paul, I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure if you are or not, but there it goes.
I am a little bit. Okay. It is just a little bit.
Yeah, but it seems like it's gone away. But yes, absolutely. We want to, part of the reason that we set the stage on the personal attributes is we're saying right up front, we heard you say this to us about this was important to you, and we're mirroring right back to them. So this is some neuro-linguistic programming techniques that are built into the commitment letter saying, we asked you what was important, we heard you, we're telling you again that we heard you in the form of a written commitment letter in terms of their priorities and what have you. So yes, it's all about them.
We're getting a little bit of that feedback again. I'm not sure what that is. Hold on, bear with us 1 second, folks. Let's see if we can't find a solution to that. Hold on. Okay. I've just muted.
Unmuted.
Needs to be, and it doesn't correct the issue. There it goes. That stopped it.
Okay. Thank you.
Not sure what that was, but that stopped it. Sorry about that. But you're playing on their ego. You talk about using those, what did you call it, neuro-linguistic type of
neuro-linguistic programming techniques. There's no question. I mean, it's and in the, by the way, for all of our members that are on the call, when you finish this later today, we'll have a PDF of the actual commitment letter that we use with some coaching points built in so that you can then go through and make up your own.
Perfect. All right, so now you begin to break down the customer's needs, and you start telling them the different things that from your conversation, here's what I gathered that you need. Again, using your techniques of the gift of word, you're kind of letting them know or explaining to them what's important in a mortgage lender with depth and marketing resources to help you build your business and so on.
Absolutely, and I want to point out for members, I actually take this written commitment letter and I've got a copy and I slide a copy across to them, so they're actually reading along while I'm talking. So it's a dual purpose. People engage by multiple different methods, and so one of the things that you need to be aware of is some people are very visual, some people like to read written words, some people like to see a slideshow. So part of what our job is as professionals is to make sure that we begin to identify how people want to be communicated to from our end to them. So obviously we talk about pre-approval. There's still, I'm amazed how many loan officers across America still are going through pre-qualification. We go full pre-approval on all our buyers and sellers, run DU, run credit, get all of the docs that we need so that we can truly give a little differentiation in the marketplace with that. A lot of people are not set up where their company can do that. We certainly are. And I think that's a key for success in this industry. And then, just we talk about and we go through and show them some of the things that we use to take advantage of technology to help them build their business and also to help make the client service experience that our clients, our borrowers actually experience far superior to other companies.
Now, that's all broken down in multiple parts on as you're breaking it down, and you're giving them multiple reasons to keep looking back at you, and you're branding your professionalism as you're going through it. You talk about an accountability partner. and you keep bringing up that partnership and the mutual benefits and the client for life mentality. Those are all things that are branding you as somebody that understands what they need to be able to do multiple rounds of business.
Well, ideally what we want to do is not only become a partner with them, not from a legal perspective, but in terms of helping each other grow each other's businesses. But also, we have an opportunity with many of the people that we come across, because of our knowledge and our tools and our experience and our professionalism, we can actually become mentors to them. And that's where you really start getting, where you can tell that you've really got a partnership when you actually have quarterly or monthly sessions where you get together with either your members of your team and theirs, or just you and them if they don't have a team, and actually chart out some goals and do some accountability partnership with them in terms of monitoring and measuring and when you start setting goals together, what you're going to do together, that goes down the path of being a partnership really fast.
As you start to, now that you've broke down what their needs are, you start to differentiate yourself, and this is where it becomes, this is where it goes really, really deep with getting the agent to start to see you as somebody that is more of a business partner than just a lender that is asking to partner with them.
And I think, again, most loan officers don't understand that the key to marketing is always to differentiate yourself from your competition. So the way that we're beginning this partnership by focusing on what their needs are and identifying their needs, and then this written approach, and then the next step we'll talk about at another class, where we actually go through and engage and begin to implement our different strategies together. It definitely makes a big difference in terms of building that partnership. And as you said, it gives you the opportunity to go ahead and schedule that next meeting automatically. The sales are not made in the first contact that we make with our prospective clients or referral partners. It's in engaging that relationship over time and multiple touches. That's where we get the engaging partnership.
That's it. Well, I wish I had the little graphic to bring up now that you brought that up. It's, there's a graphic that's been floating around. I've seen it multiple places that talks about, 5% of sales take place, or less than 3% take place on the first call. Second and third call, less than 10% of sales are happening. It's from call 5 on, or touch 5 on, that 90% of sales take place. And so it's important to make sure that that you're touching them in multiple times, multiple places, multiple ways.
Absolutely, and I want to highlight something here on the experience with our team approach. If you don't have a team like we have of loan officer and loan partner and processing team, what have you, just, you can still say that you've got a team approach. All of us have a processor. All of us have some type of a setup clerk or what have you. Somebody has some type of marketing department. So go ahead and highlight that you've got resources that other people don't have until you get to the point where you actually have people that are 100% on your team. But the next part is this, and this is critically important, a step that I don't want to gloss over. We understand your business. We all have to be students of the real estate industry. I encourage you to opt in for everything that you can find out there for real estate trainers and study what they teach realtors in terms of how to generate business, because the more we know of what realtors deal with on a day-to-day basis, the better partner we're going to become, because that's where the mentoring part comes in. I know more about how to list and sell real estate than most of the top producers in our market, because I've studied it for a long period of time. So become a student of the industry.
So you begin to talk about how you're going to work with the client that you have, the mutual client that you have, and how you're going to strengthen that relationship. And then you talk about something that the gray lion or the pink elephant over in the side of the room that typically gets ignored in most of these kind of meetings. You bring up RESPA specifically. Tell me why is that important in this situation? Why do you bring up RESPA specifically?
Well, there's a couple of reasons, Paul. First off, I'm looking for people that truly are professionals and understand that in today's world we have to be compliant. And if I'm talking to somebody that's a prospective referral partner and they don't acknowledge that or they don't respect that, then I don't have an interest in partnering with them. So that's the first purpose, is trying to weed out those people that I may not want to spend my time with because they're not going to be sensitive to compliance needs. It's a real part of the world we live in. We have to acknowledge that. We want to make sure that we're dealing with people that understand that. So that's one reason. The other thing is we have systems that cost money. And so we have to make sure that we get that out on the table right there, that, in order to be RESPA compliant, you're going to have to participate if we're going to do some joint marketing together. So this is a segue into going through that in detail.
Perfect. And this piece I quoted specifically and straight from your actual commitment letter, and I really loved and I don't want to sit and read this whole thing. I don't want to bore everybody on the call. But there's a couple of key things inside of this specific part of your message that I really think speaks to the real estate agents. The first thing is you talk about a pre-approval versus a pre-qualification. And I know that the agents, they understand the difference of the two. What has the response been from the people that you've presented that to, where, does that make, to me, in my mind, I just see that making a huge difference and them, their ears kind of perking up at that particular part. Is that what you're finding? Tell me a little bit about that part when you're going over this.
Absolutely, Paul. One of the things that I'll ask when I'm leading into this is, have you ever had transactions get down to the last minute and then fall apart? And that's, you're identifying some pain there, and don't be surprised if they go on and on about how they were a listing agent and, they were told everything was fine, the day before closing everything blew up. Well, then I say, that's because a loan officer didn't go through and do an excellent job of not just pre-qualifying the people, but actually pre-approving them and going to the point of having their file underwritten and making sure that it went through DU or LP together and verify all of their credit information and verify all their income docs and what have you. So we're stating right up front that that's an important part. The other thing that I always talk about is that for anybody you refer to me, we want to give them the buying power of a cash buyer. And by having a pre-approval done before they go out looking, first off, we're protecting the realtor partner's time, because we teach our partners, don't be putting somebody in a car until you've had them pre-approved through us. Let's do that first. Let's make sure they jump through some hoops and that they're ready to go. But when they do get ready to submit an offer, we then give them a pre-approval letter that matches up dollar for dollar with whatever the amount that they're offering. So if they're offering $200,000 for that offer, we get a pre-approval letter that the realtor can submit along with that contract, which in today's market, in many markets, is critically important. When you have 6, 8, 10 offers coming in, like we're seeing in several markets right now, at the same time when a house goes on the market, to have that pre-approval letter is essential to separate them from other offers. Now, the other part is, if we found that somebody that we cannot pre-approve, and I have to give some accolades to my good friend Greg Frost, because he taught me this many, many years ago, is if they can't get approved today, we don't just deny them and send them on their way. We let them leave with their dignity intact and a written plan on what they need to do. And those are words that came right out of Greg Frost's mouth back in the early 90s to me when I was doing a site visit with him. And so, but we let the realtors know we're going to be generating a future pipeline of business for both of us by giving them that written plan and working with them. And sometimes it's a year, 2, 3 years later, they come back and they're ready to go, and then we bring them back because we've got in our database that they came from our particular realtor partner. We take them back to that partner.
And now you're talking about actual ongoing marketing plans with the partner. That's kind of the beginning stage of your talking now about the future with them. What's going to happen 6 months, 8 months, a year from now with people that maybe didn't get that pre-approval right then. We'll be getting to a closing with them because we provide them with here's what you need to do, our Don't Give Up program. I love that. That kind of leads them down the path to know that let's face it, most realtors, even some of the top producing realtors, don't do very well with the database management. They don't know how to have a good system in place for managing, the sheer numbers of leads, especially if they're a buyer's agent. And maybe they're working some of those systems like the Boomtown and Tiger Leads and things like that. They typically don't have anything in place. If that person doesn't buy in the next 3 weeks, they're forgotten and long lost. Well, that doesn't mean they're not going to buy sometime. And so what you've done is you've got a system. You're already talking about a system that's in place for bringing people that maybe don't qualify today full circle and back around and not losing those opportunities.
That's right, Paul. And I think the key here is we are beginning through neuro-linguistic programming. We've differentiated ourselves. We've told them we heard them in our last needs assessment. Here's what we heard was important to you. And now we're beginning to start going down the process from a sales process perspective of doing an assumptive close. And we're beginning to assume that partnership. And that's an important part of the equation here.
Absolutely. And now this is an important part that you have to spell out. You have to let those prospects know, and what you're doing here is you're letting them know that you understand the sense of urgency when dealing with clients. That's a big thing. Everybody talks about closing time. How long till closing time? Communication and closing time. Those are a couple of big ones, and you're taking on those objections head up by putting in information that overcomes the objection before it even comes up.
Absolutely, Paul. And I think that, again, this is the second or third mention that you've seen of ongoing partnership meetings. And that's an important part because, again, we're doing that assumptive close. We're kind of leading them down the path to where we want them to go without them really knowing about it.
And setting up, I mean, it's without saying so, you're setting up those future face-to-faces or planting the seed for it, so to speak, or as our good friend Alan likes to say, buying those brain cells for it by saying, hey, we'll establish ongoing partnership meetings to discuss how we can maximize your business together and attain our goals together. That's a really big part of that, is you're now already putting a mental image in their mind that you're partners already and what this is going to look like. I love this next line that you have. What we've done so far is we've given specific advantages to doing business with us in a really professional manner. Not just sitting down with them over a table, shaking their hand, talking about their kids and baseball, and then saying, oh, man, what we could do is we could probably do this, and, man, you should see our system. We really understand that getting to the closing table. You've done it in a professional manner where you've spelled it out. It's all right there. Like you said earlier, you pass them a printout of this, and they're reading through it as you're presenting it.
Absolutely. And again, it's all about them. It's what we're going to be doing, what we're bringing to the table as a prospective business partner with them, not just a lender that's out there trolling for loans.
Now, one of the things, and I picked up on this, is that you try to identify, and you made a slight mention of it earlier, but you try to identify whether or not the person responds visually. Are they a person that's more in tune with, having a verbal conversation? Do they need to see, physically touch it for it to become real for them? How do you tell me some of the methods you use, or what do you do to try and trigger those different things to get the idea as to whether or not they're interested in the verbal or the visual pieces?
Well, many, many years ago, there was a book called One-to-One the Future, and then a subsequent version, Enterprise One-to-One. And the basic premise of that book, and if you haven't read them, they're as timely today as they were when they were written, so I encourage you to look at that. In fact, we'll give you a link within the membership site where you can go get a discounted copy through Amazon. But the basic marketing premise behind those great books was we want to do business with people the way they want us to do business with them. And so some people respond to email, some people like telephone calls, some people like face-to-face. And so it's our job as professionals to kind of read those people and find out how they like to be communicated. And it's okay to just say, how would you like me to communicate with you? But I look and see how they respond. Some people will read the letter. Some people kind of just want to run through the letter and skim it real quick. And then others, I actually will have a PowerPoint presentation that has a lot of visual components to it. And that's the next class we'll go through and show you an exact sample of what we do there. And I just read and kind of get a sense for how they're responding, what's getting them excited, what kind of makes it. You can almost tell when they flip the switch where they get it. They get what you're differentiating yourself and how you're going to help them build their business. And when you get to that point, you know you've got them where you want them to be, and that's really building a partnership. This is not manipulating people. It's just professionally observing and mentoring them towards the end result that we want, which is to have a partnership.
And I think people by nature, I mean, when we're sitting down having a conversation with somebody, we pick up on those clues just naturally, and we tend to, by nature, begin to respond to them the way they want to be responded to anyway. So it's nice and easy. And one of the things, so what we're talking about there with the visual stuff, if you use like a single property website like Listing Booster or Agent Marketing, bring a sample of property website with you, or a flyer, or one of the open house flyers if you use a service or system and that's one of your values. If you're a big fan of doing greeting cards, or that's the way that you're going to help them tap into their database, bring a sample or two of some of the cards that you've used in the past. Use PowerPoint is one of the easiest places to make flyers, but have some of those samples so that you can have those visual aids and pick up on the clues as to whether or not that's what they're best going to respond to, because everything you're trying to do is you're trying to differentiate yourself. You're trying to stand out in the crowd, and believe me, there is a crowd. I mean, I get that this image to me speaks dearly about our subject matter. We're trying to stand out in a crowd. We're trying to be a giraffe amongst a bunch of zebras, because most lenders, they're going to approach all lenders know that the way to purchase business is through referral partnerships with real estate agents. So how do we make ourselves appear to be different? And that's what, all the things you've done leading up to this point have been to differentiate yourself, to show your professionalism, to brand yourself as somebody that is truly different, a giraffe amongst zebras, so to speak. And so now
I've actually had people tell me, Paul, about this point in the conversation, are like, you're different from other lenders. Nobody has ever approached me the way you're approaching. And a great salesperson likes to be sold, and they like to study somebody else's approach. And so, when they start talking like that, you know that you've gone a long ways down the path of developing some trust and some rapport.
Absolutely. And so now first of all, you've broke down their needs for them to let them know that you understand their business, you understand where they need additional help to help them grow their business. You've differentiated yourself as being the person that can provide that to them. And now what you're going to do is and I love the way that you go about this, is you set the expectation of what the relationship will be like. And you start it with, and I have this in quotes, it's not so much a script, but it's actually part of your letter, and this one I do want to read. It says, in closing, we feel like we have a common basis for doing business together and creating a long-term, mutually beneficial business relationship. Our core philosophies are similar in many ways, and we seek to explore synergistic business opportunities. We believe we can offer you a number of unique strategies and systems to assist you in attaining your goals. We look forward to beginning our relationship. So there's a lot in that one little piece. You're explaining that you have a very like-minded philosophy about business. You've aligned yourself with them by saying that, hey, I'm like you. You're like me. We're like-minded. And so now you're going for a trial close almost by saying, we believe we can offer you a number of strategies. We look forward to beginning our relationship. As you were saying earlier, that's your first trial close.
Absolutely. And I think one of the two key words that I want to put in here and highlight, mutually beneficial. We are setting the stage that we're not just looking for them to refer business. We're looking to become a true partner, and we've got the strategies and the systems to do that. We can generate leads from our other pillars, as we've talked about before, Paul, where we're actually generating business that we're taking to our real estate agents. So we're bringing some real values to the table. We're bringing some technology that most realtors don't utilize. to teach them how to differentiate themselves from their competition. So yes, there's a value package here, and I know that going in, so the confidence level when I do a trial close, because of the step-by-step methodical process that we utilize, you're brimming with confidence at this point, because you've got some nods along the way. You've got some acknowledgement that people are buying into this, and I've never not had anybody that I wanted to engage just be overwhelmed with this approach.
Now, and the placement of this in the actual letter, the placement of this little paragraph right here, excuse me, it's genius to put a word on it. I mean, Chad, where you've got this place, you've broke down, kind of the things from your first conversation. Wow, this guy listened to me. You've now differentiated yourself with the things that you can do to help alleviate this. You've already differentiated yourself with professionalism, and now you do this little trial close and talk about mutually beneficial relationships in business and that were very similar in our mindset, and that person's thinking, yeah, this guy's just like me. I'm just as professional as he is. So the placement of this paragraph is, I mean, it's just genius, because it really helps to solidify. They're ready to sign at this point in most cases, I would imagine.
Absolutely, and that's, again, we've professionally led them to the end result that we want to get them to, and that's for them to commit to having a partnership with us.
That's it. And so when you're setting their expectations, the expectations that Chad sets is loyalty and commitment, open communication and dialogue. Those are things that the realtor can expect from him, and it's written up in a really nice, eloquent way, in a professional way. But the synopsis is you're talking about loyalty already. You're talking about commitment. You're talking about communication, mutual communication. Your referral partner to other like-minded, top-performing realtors. So now you're already asking to introduce to others that you may be able to help. And then again, it's, I think, the third or fourth time throughout the commitment letter, you're talking about periodic partnership meetings. You're setting that expectation up front of those meetings, for those meetings.
Absolutely, Paul. And one of the things that I want to mention, I know that when you were announcing this class, one of the things you were talking about is, are you having a problem with somebody giving out 3 business cards? And, I mean, if I find out that that's their mindset in the needs assessment, I'm never going to ask for the second appointment. I want to make that really clear. We need to make sure we value our time and what we bring to the table also. And you will run across those in almost any community where their broker says you have to give out 3 business cards. And one of the things that I will turn to the table, since I have some consumer direct strategies where we're actually bringing realtors business back to who refers business to us, we're referring business to them, is I can say, let's talk about that for a moment. We have systems where we generate clients that we bring back to you. Would you like me to give that person 3 different realtors' names when I give you that lead, or would you rather me give it to you 100%? And if they still have that mindset, then that's okay. It's kind of next mentality. Close up your notebook and the needs assessment, thank them courteously for their time, and move on. There's enough people out there that do business the way we want to do business and we can have that mindset. And I think we probably need to have a whole separate class about the mindset of a top producing loan officer, because when you have that mindset and you have that abundance mentality, things change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now this next piece it's one of those integral parts to the entire commitment letter, but this, to me, Chad, this is the scary part. This is the part where you're setting the expectation of what they can expect from you. We all know, I mean, raise of hands here, has anybody on this call met one of those overly needy real estate agents that calls you at 11:30 at night on a Saturday night to just find out where everything is in process? Probably, yeah. I got a couple of you that have experienced that once or twice before. And so, again, we're setting the expectation. And the way that we've presented this commitment letter to our prospect referral partner, we've done it in a professional way. It's all about the professionalism of the way that you're breaking it down and presenting it to them. this part adds to the professionalism of what you're doing. And so as it may be a little scary because if you read through this, and I don't want to, you'll have access, just so you guys know, you will have access to these presentation slides. Feel free, this comes directly from the letter. Feel free to read it verbatim. But in essence, what it says is that, we take care of the loan portion. If there is something that maybe comes up, because once in a blue moon it does occur, if something does come up, we make sure to communicate that with everybody involved in the transaction. But there is no need for you to call us multiple times about a specific loan in process. If it's something important to know, we'll let you know. And by the way, if by calling us you're taking time away from focusing on new clients and new business. So it's a nice way to say all of that. A very professional way to say all that. Chad, does this, I can see the purpose behind this. Does this throw red flags up to anybody? Have you ever had anybody say, whoa, 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 what do you mean I can't call you? And that's not what you're saying here, but have you ever had that come up?
No, I think what you just highlighted is if they're having to check on a transaction all the time, it's taking time away from them generating business. And so we want to let them know right up front, we're going to take care of this for you, okay? And you're right. Part of this is because we don't want somebody calling us every 5 minutes about a transaction that we haven't processed. Now, I think the key, though, Paul, is we also have systems in place that they are notified step by step, every step of the way, when a loan is put into processing, when an appraisal is ordered, when the appraisal comes back, wherever those key hot buttons are, we over-communicate to the real estate agents through systems via email, via phone calls, via faxes, etc. Again, a layering of different communication touch points. And so when they see that, they're like, I don't need to be calling Chad and his team about anything because they're communicating with me anyway. But I look at it as that's our job. That's a basic level of service that we need to provide for you so that you can go out and build your business.
Indeed. Indeed. So what we've done is we've professionally defined the advantages of doing business with us, and we've set the expectations for our relationship at this point. Now, one of the things that we've been talking about a lot lately on the daily mastermind class that we have for members, Chad, is we've been talking a lot about the difference between the average real estate agent and the above average real estate agent. We've been talking about how do we target the above average agents, the ones that are doing the business. According to National Association, they say the average agent is doing 6 transactions a year. Well, golly, does that mean the below average is doing 4? The reality is we want to focus our marketing efforts on, if I'm going to ask for business, I want to ask it from somebody that has the ability to give me business if we have a mutual understanding, if we have a relationship there, if I've built enough trust and they want to say yes, they have the ability to say yes. And so that's what we've done here is with the professional approach of the commitment letter, that's going to appeal to your above average agent. That's going to kind of focus they're going to look at you as, yes, somebody that matches their professional level.
There's no question about it, Paul, and what we're looking at is trying to build our business in a manageable form. And so if we're dealing with business with people that they can't make their rental payment or their car payment until the transaction closes, that's a very stressful situation to be involved with. So we're looking for people that have enough flow of business going to where that's not where they are in life. And we find that those people, going back to the previous slide, those people respect the fact that we're going to take care of our end of the deal. And we're going to, communicate with them, obviously, but that they don't have to be calling us and checking on it all the time, because those true professionals, realtors, understand that takes away from time to build their business or from their lifestyle.
Yeah, and it's also, it does directly relate to, going for above average agents. Those high-maintenance agents that you talked about earlier, the ones that are going to call you all the time and things like that and bug you about updates, they have to know what's going on because they don't pay their bills if it doesn't happen the way it needs to happen, and so it's a high-stress situation. and you're looking for, and I love this, the quote that you came up with on this. You want relationships, and this goes, everybody on the call should hear this quote, and this should be your business model moving forward. You want relationships with high payoff, low maintenance referral partners that are a good fit from a value perspective. I mean, that's the business model right there. That's the exact business model that we all need to be focused on.
I think, Paul, what's empowering about this is, in our prior class we talked about different ways to really target who we want to be calling for initial needs assessment. Then we've gone and interviewed them professionally to find out, is this somebody that I want to be partnering with, and also finding out what their needs are at the same time. Now the next step in this process is what we're talking about here. And so every step of the way, we should have the mindset, is this somebody that I want to be doing business with? Is this somebody that I want to break bread with occasionally, that I want to meet with periodically? Do they have some goals of expanding their business to where as their business expands, mine can expand? Have that mindset going in.
And so now you've kind of gone through all of the stuff, and you're beginning your close. And Chad makes it very clear on this, and speak on this for a minute. It's important to get their signature on the commitment letter. It's not about what you're saying in your presentation. This is how, that difference between those agents, you'll never have that conversation about giving 3 cards or just talking about you when you get that signature on this commitment letter.
We actually have on the letter itself, it's where I sign it and I slide it across the table and I ask them to commit back to me too, to commit to a professional partnership.
That solidifies that professionalism. The way you're approaching it is all about the professionalism, and that signature just solidifies that final piece.
And I think it's important to mention here, if for some reason they're hesitant about signing it, then we have an opportunity to overcome objections here. So this is, most times, they're already blown away so much that they're like, where do I sign? where do I sign up for this? Because I've never seen anything like this before. And that's what's the beauty of this system.
Well, and if you do need to trial close, we came up with a couple of, just a little short script, and the trial close would go something like, hey, Fred, can you see how partnering with us could help you generate more leads and therefore assist you in closing more transactions? And then just pause. If yes, great. Then we can help you accomplish your goals. And what you're doing there is you're positively reinforcing the statement of your core values from before, and you're handing them the pen at that point. And if they say no, it's a really simple thing. You just continue the conversation. Okay, perhaps I missed something during our first meeting. What do you feel could help you generate more leads and therefore assist you in more closed transactions?
And again, the emphasis here is listen. The emphasis here is 100% on them. That's a real key concept for all of us to know and take to heart.
And notice, if they do say no, which I couldn't imagine after all of that you get too many of those no's, if you ask this question, can you see how partnering with us? But if you do, I put the onus on myself. It's not their fault that they can't see how we can generate more leads and therefore more closings. Perhaps I missed something during our realtor needs assessment or during our first meeting. What do you feel? Get them to answer that question and just shut up and listen. Listening is the big part of what you're going to do.
And I want to refresh our members' memories too. If you recall, at the end of the needs assessment, we're doing a trial close, asking them if they would consider a partnership too. And so we've had a couple of trial closes along the way by this point. So you've already had a chance to overcome other objections. The one objection that you might get fairly frequently is, well, I've got a long-term relationship with another lender. But when we start talking about, would you be open and receptive to expanding your base of lenders if we can bring some value to the table, then that objection goes away.
Absolutely. And then the closing script, Fred, I think we have the basis for a long-term, mutually beneficial business relationship since we believe in professionalism, we would like to ask you for your commitment back to us in the form of your signing this letter formally accepting our business relationship proposal, in case you needed the script to get them to sign. And then the important part, and guys, this is the important part, the biggest mistake, and Chad talked about this quite a bit, and Chad talked on that, the big mistake to avoid when you get them, they sign the letter. The big mistake that people make is, thank you so much, I appreciate it, I'll call you, we'll get together next week. No, engage the relationship right then and there, right now.
Absolutely, and there's several ways that we go about doing that. You know, first off, we're going to ask them who they're working with right now that needs our services right up front. You know, we are going to set up a next appointment to begin to implement some of the marketing strategies that we have, so that we can get with their assistants or them individually and begin to go through that. We're going to ask them for a listing of all their current listings so we can get them pre-approved. And I'm going to tell you, friends, if you're not asking for your realtor partners' listings that are going to be staying in your marketplace to get them pre-approved, you're missing the boat. There's business out there. There's some gems out there, some golden nuggets that are looking to move up and buy a bigger house in your market. And why not give them that professional service of getting them pre-approved ahead of time? And by the way, when you do that, make sure you reinforce how strong a realtor that they're dealing with. And you know, and I'll just say, you know, how did you meet Sally? You know, man, she is a top professional. You're fortunate to be working with her. I do business with all kinds of real estate agents. She really is a top pro. By the way, I'm sure she mentioned to you that, you know, when you're looking to really make a move here, well, you'll find out about their motivation a little bit. It's like, you know, I'm sure that Sally mentioned this, but, you know, how you price your house to sell can have a direct impact on whether you're helping sell your competitors' houses or sell yours. And so as a lender, when we talk about that and we get them pre-approved, and they know that there's no question now that they can move up to that next level, they're qualified. I've actually had people go back to my realtor partners and ask for a price reduction on their listings. So look for professional ways to add value to that relationship. And I guarantee when you do that, you've got a realtor partner that's going to be, you know, they'll run through a cement wall for you. I mean, that's the kind of partner that we really want to become.
Absolutely. And I love the mortgage fitness checkup because that gives you a chance to tap into their previous customer database right then and there.
Absolutely, Paul. And this is an example of something that came out of a mastermind group that I was involved with for many years. And this is kind of the power of the mastermind. We were meeting and brainstorming about different ways that we could add value. And one of the things we came up with is what we call mortgage fitness checkup. You know, everybody knows that we should have a health checkup at least annually. We may not, but we should, and we know we should. Well, the same thing is true on analyzing somebody's home loan. You know, do they need cash out? Do they need debt consolidation loan? Do they need a renovation loan? Are they looking to move up to another home? All those things can come in. So we offer a mortgage fitness checkup to our realtor referrals databases to bring some value from them at no cost to the consumer.
Now, Dave has a great question here, reflecting back to the objections you were talking about a minute ago, and you had mentioned, you know, you talked to an agent that says something to the effect of, oh, I'm already working with somebody, and you had talked about, well, you know, would you want to expand your portfolio of possible mortgage lenders? He says, if you don't require exclusivity, how much business do you expect to do with them from this? How much business do you expect from this if you don't require that exclusivity in the?
Well, I think the key is if we can't get the first team right off the bat after 2 meetings, which you can in many cases, but if you can't, then I want to be the backup. I want to be the guy that's riding the bench, and I'm going to continue to provide value and build a relationship. And there's going to be some time when their lender's out of town or they drop the ball, or like what happened last week with us, Joy gets a phone call and somebody that we've been trying to work with has never referred us any business, but their lender didn't have an under 620 credit score program, and we do, and all of a sudden now we're first team. We passed that guy up. And so I think that's the key, is go into it with the right mindset, and remember, if in the needs assessment, if they say absolutely they're not interested in expanding their relationships, I politely close my notebook and thank them for their time and leave. So there's enough people out there that still have a need for a good relationship. And again, there's people that come and go in our industry, or some people won't be available on a Saturday afternoon when somebody needs a pre-approval, and we're there, and then we become that first team lender.
Perfect. So part of engaging the relationship right away, have a sample of the single property websites for them to view. It will actually help you with getting that signature. So just if you plan on talking about those things during your commitment letter, have some samples of some of those items that you plan to bring with you ready to go. One of the things that Chad goes over, and I know you wanted to talk on this just briefly, we don't have the time today to go through the whole thing, but what this is Chad's mortgage team process. And Chad, just talk a little bit about how you present this during that meeting.
Well, this is, again, it cements the professionalism, because one of the things that I talked about is here's an example of how thorough we are in taking care of our mutual clients' needs. And we've broken down step by step every single component from a lead received all the way through closing, with defined timetables on what we're going to do when, so that we can show them and demonstrate to them that we're very serious about the loan process itself. And people look at this and they're like, they took the time to write it all down and step by step, and here's where I'm going to get notified that the appraisal was ordered, and here's where I'm going to get notified that we have a conditional approval, and here's where I'm going to get notified we got clear to close. And it sells you just in the form of, particularly for people that are visual, and they're just like, they're blown away, because nobody else has this out there that they actually take out in the marketplace to show how important it is to over-communicate and take care of the client. So again, this is the takeaway from those people that want to be calling all the time, Paul, because I don't want them calling. I want my team working on getting those loans approved quickly and dealing with our customers with excellence.
Love it. So the keys to success, the number one key that you mentioned to me is do not leave the appointment without asking for the business. That was the number one key that you reiterated more than one time, is you get that signature, you get that commitment, begin engaging it, start asking them, great, who do you have that you're listing with, what buyers are you working with that I can get pre-approved right away, hey, let's start doing that, what is it, the mortgage assessment? What did you call it? Mortgage fitness check. Yep, the mortgage fitness check. Let's start doing these things and engage the actual relationship right then and there.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing you said was having that plan, that purposeful, planned implementation process ready to go when you meet with them.
And again, I think the beauty of this is it empowers our loan officers to become excellent communicators, because it's a step-by-step process. And when you do this a couple of times, you'll find that you're reading the body language of the people that we're wanting to partnership with. And we're doing in our own mind, is this somebody, again, I reiterate for the umpteenth time, is this somebody that we want to be partnering with? Mm-hmm. That's a key.
Big deal there. And then follow up like a crazy person is the other key. Well, guys, girls, I want to thank you so much for taking time to attend with us today. We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. If you could, head over to facebook.com/Mortgage Mastermind Group and leave us a little comment on a post or make a post yourself. Just let us know what you thought about today's class. Again, we want to thank you so much. Got a couple of questions flowing in here, Chad, and we've got a couple of minutes for that real quick. To be fully RESPA compliant, does he feel a need to charge for services like single property websites or weekly marketing classes? So are you, when you're doing some of your, and I know you use the agent marketing system, when you're doing the agent marketing system with a potential client, or you have them, give them access to one of like your CRM to co-brand some email marketing campaigns, are you charging the agents for that?
Yes, we are. Okay. And we have a form that we actually have them sign that talks about that we're going to be doing some joint marketing, and it talks about the contribution towards that, to where if somebody shows up, and as you make a major market move, you can expect somebody that's jealous, one of your competitors, they may turn you in. And so make sure that you're dotting the I's and crossing the T's to make sure you're RESPA compliant.
Absolutely, and great question. Again, guys, thank you so much for attending. Listen, we greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us. If you're not a member of Mortgage Mastermind Group, we appreciate you taking an opportunity to check out and see a little bit about what we're about. And if you have a couple of minutes, we hope that by giving you guys access to the free class that we have earned ourselves an opportunity to tell you a little bit further about what we do here at Mortgage Mastermind Group and how we do it. So I'm not going to make anybody stay, but we'd love it if you'd stick around for another couple of minutes and just listen a little bit to what we do, and feel free. We are open for any questions about what we're doing here at Mortgage Mastermind Group. But we're hoping that with the free class and the awesome content that Chad has provided for us today, that we've earned the opportunity to tell you a little bit about ourselves. So Mortgage Mastermind Group, what we are is a group. It's Chad Bates, myself, Paul Baxter. We've gotten together to provide ongoing training and provide a group of like-minded individuals that get together on a regular basis to exchange ideas, and with the common goal of helping our businesses grow. That's the whole common goal of what everything that we do here at the Mortgage Mastermind Group. And there's a couple of specific parts to it. The first thing that we do at the Mortgage Mastermind Group is we have what we call a daily mastermind. And so what the daily mastermind is we gather together 4 times a week. We get together every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday, and we mastermind with a group of our peers. We learn new strategies on how we can diversify our mortgage business. We get information on steps you need to actually implement these marketing ideas. And what's cool is that you get to be part of an accountability group where everybody, it's funny when you get involved in something like this, everybody tends to care about one another, and you'll pop on a class on Wednesday and somebody will say, hey, I know Jeff, you were going to be trying this on Tuesday, how did that go for you? That's accountability, guys, when the other members of your mastermind group are asking how things are going. Boy, it sure gives you the incentive to make sure that you're getting those things done. So it's everything from learning strategies to masterminding and exchanging ideas with a group of your peers. Some of the things that we cover and what we call our pillars are social media, from what button to click to how to engage with people. We talk about consumer direct marketing ideas. We talk about how to create bigger and better lists by partnering with the right title companies, or by becoming involved with some of the local real estate groups. And there's multiple pillars. We're always talking about things, and what's cool about it is they're all things that are designed to help you grow your mortgage business. So that daily mastermind, here's a sampling of some of the classes we've covered. We talked about and did a whole class on structuring and creating a 30-second elevator speech. We did a whole series, multiple-day series, on search engine optimization and how you very simply can tap in to Google search and start generating page rankings on Google to get consumer direct marketing going on. We did another series on creating a 3-step funnel if you would like to get going on consumer direct marketing. We've talked about Facebook ads. We talked about, again, targeting, how to target. Earlier in today's presentation, you heard us talk a little bit about how we focused on the above average agents, the agents that are actually doing business. So we talk about how to get those, how to find those targets, and then we discussed exactly how to fire at those targets. How do you start communication with them? We even developed a really nice first call script right there on the class. It was amazing. We all just kind of mashed our heads together, came up with a couple of different ideas, and poof, by the end of it, we've got a really great first call script for targeting those brand new agents to get them to start working with you. And everything in between. There's a lot to go through. The second part, or another part of our program with Mortgage Mastermind Group, is we focus on always having a top producer interview, and that's what today's session was. Chad Bates is top producer, has been for, golly, what did you say, over 35 years in the banking and mortgage industry, Chad?
That's correct.
That's a good little while to be a top producer, so we always listen to his insight. We're going to have, Chad mentioned Greg Frost is a good friend of his. He's actually one of our contributing faculty, and we'll be doing some top producer interviews with us as well. It allows you to stay up to date with what is working right now in the mortgage business, and the cool part about it is you're going to get the actual steps to implementing these things or these ideas that other top producers are doing right into your own business. Some of our contributing faculty, I mentioned Greg Frost already. Some of you may know the amazing Jody Tonga, who is voted by consumers as the best mortgage provider in Hawaii. Christian Penner, if you don't know who he is probably the most technologically savvy mortgage lender I have ever known. I mean, you name it, the guy knows Google AdWords, and how to tap into a consumer direct marketing approach like nobody I've ever seen. We're going to be having Larry Benton, who is nationally known as the reverse mortgage specialist. Got several designations from senior groups that give him that opportunity to get in front of and educate more in larger groups of seniors. Really well known as a reverse mortgage specialist. And then Dean Hartman, again, another 30-plus year industry leader with everything from managing teams to his own production. And we're really excited to talk to him about some of his systems and strategies that's kept him in that top where he's at as well. So a lot of different top producers from around the country. Our good friend Alan Gross just presented just a little over a week ago in a previous session. One of his strategies about how he uses appreciation marketing to get the real estate agents to want to partner with him, very similar to what Chad's doing, just a different strategy. And so we'll always keep you on top of what's happening with top producers around the country. And then we've got a section called Chad's Corner, which is, I mean, it's just full of years and years and years of personal study, trial and error, a lot of failures to get to the successes. And what he's done is he's put his best information, the things that he's tried over the years that have proven to be superior successful. You heard us talk about the realtor needs assessment. He goes in depth with this active range strategy on how he generates consumer direct leads that he can then pass off. He mentioned to you about agents doing 3 cards. Well, instead of 3 cards, Chad with his consumer direct strategies has the leverage to say to an agent, well, you know, the leads I'm giving you, I give to you 100%. I would appreciate the same. Or would you prefer I give out the 3 cards? And it's a tough conversation. But you know what? Chad has the leverage to do that because he's built those pillars, and he gives you the exact how-to in his corner here with all the materials that you want. And I love this little scripts for real solutions. Any and all of the scripts that we've got and have come up with over the years are here. But what's really cool is you have the ability to request a script. If you don't see one in there that fits the specific thing that you're looking for a script on, you just submit a request and we'll actually write one for you. I think that's a huge piece to the puzzle, and it really helps you guys without having to sit there and think about and rack your brain coming up with content or scripts on your own. It's the help you need. Some of the other extras, we have a full resource library. Again, it's got the realtor needs assessment, as well as the commitment letter. Today's presentation was taken specifically from this this commitment letter, and it's here available for you to use. It's there to download, swipe. It's editable. We don't put stuff in here in PDF form. We put it in as a document so that you can edit that, make it your own. By all means, we want our members to have the materials that you need to be successful, because that's what it's all about. So all of those things are all included with your membership, plus we have a private Facebook group for you to engage with your peers, exchange ideas, talk about situations, talk about successes, golly, even talk about some of your failures and ask for help on where you can become better at situations. The cool thing is everything that's said on that private group is 100% completely private. There is none of your friends are see it, none of your realtor partners are see it. Only the other members of the mastermind, the people who are there to help and support you and hold you accountable are the ones that are going to see that. And unlike some other forums I've seen, any question is fair game. Any question is fair game. We're there to answer your questions. It's there to be a resource for you to get the information you're looking for, not just if it makes us feel warm and fuzzy. So any question is fair game there. And then coming soon, we're in the works of putting it together on the website. We're going to have a confidential forum inside the website, and that forum, once it's up and running, is going to actually be completely archived. So you'll be able to search topics, and over a period of time, you'll have a plethora of information over a specific topic to get ideas from what other lenders or masterminds have done for that specific situation in their business. Now, we always got to talk about the fun stuff, so we're talking about a little bit about money, and what we're offering for action takers today is an introductory price, and this introductory price will change once we complete our introductory period. And so what we're looking for are people that are interested in taking action right now today, and if you do that, the introductory price that you sign up for is your price forever. And that price for everything that we went over is $97 a month. It's only $97 a month to have 4 days a week where you gather together with your peers. You gather together with a top coach in this industry talking about ways for you to grow your business. What we really do on that daily mastermind, and Chad came up with this saying, and I think it absolutely fits and is appropriate. What we do on there is we begin to plan, we set up purposeful planned implementation processes. That's what it's all about. You get access to the top producer interviews where you're going to hear from some of the industry's top professionals and learn what they're doing in their business and be able to mimic it in your business. You've got resources galore, everything from scripts to what to do and say with all the verbiage that you need to set up a meeting, to have a meeting with a partner, to close on a commitment with a partner. You've seen that today. You've got everything, including Chad's consumer direct marketing strategies and everything in between in the resources, and that's all yours for $97 a month. Now, there is time, and I know I've taken more than the hour that I've asked for today, and I want to respect your time. Guys, all you have to do, if you want to take advantage of the $97 a month opportunity, and again, even when our introductory time period is over and we raise our price, you keep that $97. That is yours to keep as long as you're a member. To take advantage of it, all you have to do is go to mortgagemastermindgroup.com/take action. Again, that's mortgagemastermindgroup.com/take action. When you get to that link, you're going to see a big yellow with blue letters take action button. Go ahead and click on it and fill out the form and become a member. Again, to take action today, to lock in that introductory price for the life of your membership with us, just go to mortgagemastermindgroup.com/take action, click on the big take action button, and join us on Monday for your first daily mastermind session. We look forward to hanging out with you. Now, we do also offer private implementation and accountability coaching. That is available. If you would like some more information on the private coaching and private implementation, just shoot me an email over to paulb@mortgagemastermindgroup.com or pick up the phone and call me at 747-221-6649. Again, if you're interested in the private implementation coaching or accountability coaching, email me, paulb@Mortgage Mastermind Group, or call me at 747-221-6649. Guys, I highly encourage you to take advantage of this take action opportunity. 97 bucks. This is not going to last very long. And again, you are grandfathered in at that price. As long as you maintain your membership, you keep that $97 a month package. And that our introductory time period is going to be ending fairly soon. So I highly encourage you to do that. If you are going to do it, head over to mortgagemastermindgroup.com/take action. Anybody have any questions? It looks like we've got quite a few of you still hanging around with us, and that's a good sign. I hope that means that I'm going to get to hang out with you more frequently on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Do you have any questions about our program, about what we do here at the Mortgage Mastermind Group? Laura says the script help is huge, and absolutely, that's a big part of becoming successful. We feel like that's going to be one of those things that really helps you in that next level. Far too often I talk to people and members and loan officers specifically that say, oh, I'd like to do this, but coming up with it just takes me so long to put this together. It takes me too much time to create that content. Well, take that worry out of your equation at this point, because we'll do those things for you. Let us take that burden off of your shoulder. Let us guide you in the right way to find the information you're looking for if you're looking for content. Let me guide you in, golly, just a session this week on the Daily Mastermind, we talked about crafting content where I gave everyone a 4-step system from beginning to end on how to create any content that will allow you to get search engine optimization and actual page rankings on the first page of Google to generate consumer direct leads. So that's the kind of thing that we bring to the table with the Mortgage Mastermind Group, and we'd really love to share that with you. It's what we're all about here, is giving to others and sharing. It's why we've got our price point where we've got it. We want to be able to share with as many of you as possible. And so if you want to take advantage of that opportunity to get in at $97 in our introductory rate and lock that in as your price as long as you're a member, head over to mortgagemastermindgroup.com/take action. Yes, so Laura's asking, what other tools does Chad use? He uses agent marketing system. Chad, talk about what CRM system are you guys using currently?
We have 2 systems that we use. We have a system called NPS, which is tied into our loan process, and then we also use Top of Mind.
Okay.
So we use both of those systems in a little different ways. Part of our automation process, the slide you showed earlier, we've actually automated our procedures to where as different milestones occur, there's automated emails that go out informing the listing agent, the buyer's agent, the buyer about where we are in the process. And so some of that is automated. The consumer doesn't know that that's automated. They just see something that's coming out, but we've automated that process, and that's through our MPC system. And then through Top of the Mind, we have some similar type things, some videos that actually have been done that we utilize as well.
I've talked to several that use Top of Mind with the video systems. I love that. I think that makes everything nice and easy.
I think, Paul, one of the things that I want to mention too is that, you know, we're really in a lending business here. We're not just this is not just pie in the sky theory. It's not, you know, flashy, shiny objects type things. These are things that we have learned over our career that we want to share and give back, and we're going to have some specific training on reverse mortgages, a great profitable niche. We're going to have specific training on renovation loans and 203Ks, full and streamlined. So part of our education will go beyond just the marketing part. Marketing is certainly important, but having those niche products and knowing how to leverage those to maximize your business, those 2 areas are key business pillars that we look at in our business right now, because of the aging population of America and because of the aging of housing, and more and more people need renovation loans, particularly as interest rates increase in the next year or 2. So we're positioning ourselves right now to be the leader in renovation financing, where when interest rates do go up, we're going to already be there and be ahead of the curve.
Love it, and that's great stuff. Ted is asking what all is included at the 97. So Ted, let me just kind of reiterate a couple of the things. What all is included with the Mortgage Mastermind system, or Mortgage Mastermind group, is you get access to the daily mastermind, which is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We cover all the different pillars. We talk about social media. We talk about consumer direct. We talk about referral partner marketing. We talk about partnering with other people as referral partners, not just realtors, but CPAs. We talk about financial planners, attorneys, stockbrokers, and everything in between. We talk about niche marketing. We talk about search engine optimization. You name it, we cover the topic. That's included with the 97 membership, the Daily Mastermind. And here's just kind of a sampling of some of the topics, Ted. SEO knowledge, crafting your content, staying on target, and firing at your target, kind of a series on how to focus on the right real estate agents. It also includes the top producer interviews, where every Friday we're going to interview a new top producer, or perhaps we have back on, we've been doing a lot of stuff with Chad just because Chad's got so much information to share with us right now. But some of the other top producers that we'll be interviewing are people like Greg Frost, Larry Benton, the nationally known reverse mortgage specialist, Christian Pinner, Jody Tonga, Dean Hartman, and so on and so forth. So that's also included. You also get access to Chad's Corner, which is just a plethora. No, that's a different company, Ted. That's a completely different company, my friend. Yes, we don't want any confusion there. That is a different company. But in Chad's Corner, you're going to get access to, realtor needs, to all the different resources and materials that Chad has provided or created over the years to put himself in that top producer category. And he provides access to, all of his materials to our members right then and there. There's a resource library for you to download and swipe. The realtor needs assessment. Download it, edit it, make it your own, put your own verbiage in there. Take the realtor commitment letter, which is what we covered today, edit that, make it your own. Take out the part about team and put in a part about the property websites, whatever it is that you use to make it specific to your meetings. But it's there, it's downloadable and editable for you to be able to use. And it also includes the private group on Facebook for ongoing communication, completely private. And then moving forward, we are in the process of creating a members confidential forum that is going to have completely searchable archives. So every topic that's discussed in the forum will always have, you'll be able to research or find those topics and what's being talked about. Great way to mastermind and learn what others are doing. So that's all included at the $97.
And I'd like to point out too, Paul, that every class, every mastermind that we do is going to be recorded and be in the back office for our members to go back and revisit. If they had a conflict, they've got an appointment or something, they're still going to have access to it, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's it. So guys, I'd love it if you take action. I appreciate all of you that hung out and took the opportunity to learn a little bit more about what we're doing here with Mortgage Mastermind Group. I would love personally the opportunity to get to work with each and every one of you. I'd love to have you on my class come Monday, and let's start masterminding together. If you want to take action, all you have to do, head over to mortgagemastermindgroup.com/take action. Click on the big yellow Take Action button, get signed up, and let's start masterminding together. Awesome. Thank you, guys, girls. Thank you so much. I think I've gotten to all the questions. If I did miss one, again, you feel free to email me, Paul B. at mortgagemastermindgroup.com. Also, if you are interested in private implementation and accountability coaching, I do offer that. Love to talk to you about what that opportunity entails. You can either email me about that at paulb at mortgagemastermindgroup.com or call me at 747-221-6649. Chad, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day today to come and share with us about the commitment letter. Really good stuff. boys and girls, thank you so much for taking your time to stick around, learn a little bit more about Mortgage Mastermind Group. I look forward to working with those of you that did take action today. Thank you so much for taking action on your business. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the flip side. Don't forget, head over to facebook.com/Mortgage Mastermind Group and tell us a little bit about what you thought of today's class. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you right back here on Mortgage Mastermind Group.